episode of Teves Development. Today we're going to be going over the while loop. Last week we went over the for loop. A while loop is generally the same thing. We're going to loop until a certain condition has met, but with a while loop we don't necessarily know when that condition is going to be met at the start of the loop. Where in a for loop we know we want to loop X amount of times, and after that amount of times we want to terminate. The while loop, again, like I said earlier, we can do indefinite amount of times until the condition is met. So let's get started. We will start by creating a Java class, and we will name this while loop game. And now that we have this, we will do our standard public static void main, and now we're ready to get started. So with a for loop, we have for in I equals to 0 while I is less than 10, I plus plus, and then we will do this 10 times, right? On a while loop, we have while and then a condition. So if we put in something such as I is less than 10, we could do this. We would need to create an int I up here. We could set this to 0. And then we could do plus plus inside here, and then after 10, this would terminate as well. These, in theory, are the same exact thing, but we would use a while loop when we don't know when we want to terminate right off the bat. So for example, let's say we have a game where the computer is going to generate a random number. The user is going to guess that number, and if they're incorrect, they are going to try to guess again at a new randomly generated number. So if they guess wrong, they could guess wrong an infinite amount of times. So we don't know how long we're going to need to loop for, because they could either get it on the first try or they could get it on the 1,000,000th try. So we're going to use a while loop to accomplish this task. So let's get started. First, we'd want to use a while loop. But we need some condition for this while loop. So let's create a Boolean. Boolean game is running. And we'll set this equal to true off the bat. And then we will put in this while loop game is running. So now we need some way for the user to guess a number. So we'll use our trusty scanner class. And we know how to do this from prior videos. Scanner equals new scanner system.in. We will import our scanner code. And now we need a way to generate random numbers from the machine. So we can do this by using the random class. Great. So now we have a scanner to get user input and a random class to generate a random number. So as of right now, this while loop will run forever because the condition is true. So while true, we will run, and true is never being changed to false. So let's get into this now. So we can start this by saying system.out.print, please guess a number between 0 and 10. And then we will take that number in number guessed. So now, as we know from previous videos, we're going to ask the user for a number, and we're going to store that number inside of number guessed. Now let's generate a random number. We can do this by doing int generated number equals random dot next int, and then we want to look at what this takes in. It looks like it will take in a bound, an upper bound, so we'll put in 11 so we can go from 0 to 10. Now that we have the number that we're guessing and the generated number, we need to check if those numbers are equal or not. We can do this by using a if statement. If number guessed equals generated number, then we can say system.out.println You guessed it correctly. And now that we know we guessed the number correctly, we want to end the game, correct? So we will do something along the lines of game is running equals false. So on the next iteration of the loop, when we do this conditional check, we'll have false and we will end the game. But let's say they didn't guess the number correctly. We can have an else statement here that says system.out.print you guessed the number incorrectly. The answer was, and then we can put in the correct answer. And then we can say, generating a new number, please try again. So let's think about this for a second. We're going to start the program. We're going to set game is running to true. We're going to create our scanner and random class so we know how to get numbers in and generate random numbers. While game is running, which at this point will be true, we will ask the user for a number, generate a random number, and we will check if the number generated is equal to the number guessed. If it is, we will say you guessed it correctly, and we will terminate the game by saying game is running is equal to false. So at this point, we will start the loop again. Game is running will be equal to false, and the program will terminate. On the flip side though, if they do not guess the number correctly, they will get this prompt that they guessed the number incorrectly. They will get what the generated number was, and it will generate a new number, which will come back up here, and this will be true, so they will try again. So let's give this a try. We can go here and run this. Please guess a number between 1 and 10. Let's say 7. So I guessed the number incorrectly. The answer was 6. We were close. So let's say 6 this time. Oop, we guessed it incorrectly. It was actually 7 this time. What a surprise. So let's guess 3. Oh, it looks like we guessed it correctly this time. And look, the program terminated. But let's say we guessed it wrong indefinitely. So let's say we did like 33 and we keep doing 33. We will run this loop forever because we are never going to change that condition of game is running to false. The second we guess a correct number, which we can just keep pressing random numbers until maybe one day we get it, we got it here, that it was 6, so we guessed it correctly. Great, so we did 2 things today. We learned how while loops differ from for loops. Essentially, we will run until a condition is met, which is the same as a for loop, but at the start of the while loop, we don't know what that condition necessarily, or not, we know what the condition is, but we don't know when that condition is going to be met. Where, unlike a for loop, we know that condition will be met after X amount of tries. We also learned how to create a little game. So we can do this by everything that we've learned so far, our primitive types such as booleans, learning how to import Java code such as the scanner and random classes, utilizing our while loops, as well as our if statements. So if you learned something new today, please like the video. It helps our channel greatly. Leave a comment down below if you think we could have done anything better or if you have any questions, as well as subscribe as it helps grow the channel. Thanks for watching and we'll see you next time.